In parts 1 and 2 of this series, we learned about Alaska Natives' fight for their land. In this part, we'll hear from a young artist who's reviving a cultural tradition to heal from generations of trauma.
Since a long time ago, before all of these things have shifted and changed, we've had tattoos. When I do a tattoo on somebody, that powerful strength that comes from our ancestors shows through, and you could see just the strength come back into that person. My name is Kunak, and I come from Nome, Alaska, and I am Inupiaq.
Marjorie is part of a young generation of Alaska Natives who are trying to revive cultural traditions once shunned by outsiders and missionaries in Alaska.
One of the beautiful things about tattooing is that a long time ago, it was meant to help us survive. It allowed us to acknowledge the spirits around us and honor the animals and honor the next generation. But now it's coming back as a way to heal from historic traumas.
In the early 1900s, Christian missionaries in Alaska had banned traditional Indigenous practices like tattooing and dancing.
They really truly believed that our way of living was demonic. We were heathens. Our ability to come together as a community was broken. So there's this generational gap of knowledge that's missing within our communities. And that includes how we raise our children, how we provide ceremony and ways that we grieve in a healthy way. I got my traditional chin tattoo in 2012, and that's when I graduated here at the University of Alaska Fairbanks. And my mom was like, yeah, awesome. And even my grandma was like, oh, no, baby girl, you got such a beautiful face, don't do it. So there was strong discouragement by my grandmother, but she was one of the first generations to go to boarding school. She had that mentality of, that's a tradition our ancestors did, but that's not a tradition we do now. I started learning how to do traditional tattooing 2 years ago. And before I learned, there had been I can count the ladies on who had traditional tattoos on one hand. I wanted to give other women an opportunity to get their traditional tattoos in a traditional way, because there wasn't that opportunity back in 2012. They just didn't want to go to a tattoo parlor. They wanted it to mean more. I realized that it was much more than just putting ink into the skin, that it's a really powerful ceremony. One of the ways that we made the ink to tattoo is with our seal oil lamps. We call it nanak in our language. It means light. I feel like when it dances, it kind of feels like our ancestors are there with us. But it looks gonna look so good on you. Being a woman Inuit tattooist is very powerful. Are you ready? Mm-hmm. The chin tattoo is only done by women, not by men at all. It most always means a signifier of strength and womanhood. Becoming a woman, feeling strong enough to be able to support a whole family, being able to provide for your community, being a strong member of society. That's what getting your chin tattoo means. Okay.
All done?
All done.
Yay.
Yay.
I feel so excited. I feel so different. Different. It's a whole different me.
One of the things that has really driven my journey to doing traditional tattooing and learning cultural skills is because there was a need for that. Even now, the generation now, we feel like, who are we? What are we doing in this world, And you could see that with the devastation of alcoholism and suicide. It's still very prevalent within my region and the regions across Alaska. And not even just Alaska, just Indigenous communities that have been colonized, So being able to reclaim that and change it to where we see fit is powerful. Dancing is supposed to have a story that goes along with it. You have people singing the story, and you have the dancers doing the motions that paint the story. And they would have our traditional style of drum, which is bent wood into a circle, and it's usually has a skin stretched over it. It would either be walrus stomach skin or whale liver membrane. Now we're actually going into a revival of composing our songs, because for a long time we were just trying to revive the dancing and singing because it was banned in places by missionaries. You feel part of it. You feel part of the whole environment around you. It's a community that's coming together to paint this picture for people to see. My mental wellness and my physical wellness heavily depends on being able to eat our traditional foods. And if I can't have my smoked fish, or if I can't have our muktuk or our traditional foods, I'm sad. Like, I'm physically, mentally sad.
Lord, I ask that you bless our hands throughout the next week. Name bless our families, our friends, those hunting and gathering on the land. Amen.
Amen.
I'm hungry. Me too.
Learning our languages and being here, thriving and surviving and being Indigenous, wearing my tattoo proudly in this contemporary world is an act of defiance for our ancestors, and saying thank you for surviving through all of that so that I could be who I am today.